Good evening, folks. Welcome to Dead After Dark. It's going to be a little different tonight since I'm too tired to chat with you folks. For the consummate 20 minutes I usually do, we're just going to jump right into our topics. Tonight I actually have a guest. I have the director with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings, Director Arcative Arcative Labs here. I make videos and appear on live streams and occasionally try to sound smart.
And talk about SCPs and such.
And weirder things like news.
Mm-hmm. The news has been weird lately. Not all terrible, mostly terrible. Life sucks and then you die is what I'm trying to say. Hello, Moxley. But, on the bright side, there's been some recent very good news. The Golden State Killer was caught, which is a case that I've followed quite a bit. If you don't know who the Golden State Killer is, he's also known as rather infamous serial killer that pretty much no one that's ever worked on the case or followed it thought anyone was going to break.
Yeah, they pretty much wrote it off, and which means that, strictly speaking, he was that shy from being one of the most successful serial killers in history.
Oh, yes.
Mind
Brother
you,
Jack the Ripper.
to say he's a failed serial killer, that's something we might be saying now, mostly just to comfort ourselves.
Mm. Oh, no, not failed. Not at all.
I mean, he wasn't really stopped. He retired. That's
pretty much. There's not very many serial killers that I know that have been able to go into retirement from being a monster.
It's he remains definitely an exceptional case. And I think we owe it all to people who post their things online without really considering the possible implications.
Mm-hmm.
Freely. I was glad to hear that. I'm glad the company that, well, perhaps we should go into proper detail here. We had an article. Let's see. Basically, the Golden State Killer had a relative who decided to get a genealogy test done. You know, one of those do-it-yourself home DNA kits. You know, swab their inside their mouths and so on, sent it off, and then when they got the results back, they posted it online, you know, to find family. And boy, did they.
They weren't the only one that found something they were looking for.
Yes, but that's a bad day for you right there. You take a gene test. Hey, maybe I'll find a distant cousin. Maybe they have an accent. Oh, holy shit! They're the Golden State Killer.
Hey, by the way, you're related to the East Bay rapist, and we need to talk to you.
Hey, we now know your ancestry. You come from a long line of war criminals. That's got to put a damper on someone's mood.
My damper was, hey, yeah, so this is your ancestry. By the way, your ancestors were slaves. Oh. Yay.
Well.
That's depressing. Thank you! Ancestry.com.
Depressing, but comparatively better. I don't think...
I'll take slaves over serial killer any day.
And see, it could always be worse. It can always be worse.
God, yes, it made me feel so much better.
I've actually wondered about my own genealogy, but I'm not so bold as to send my DNA off again. That's I don't quite trust those companies are just going to sit on that information indefinitely. If I could trust them to burn it all afterwards.
Not quite sure what they're going to do with it, but you know.
Oh, the applications of your genetic makeup are endless. The insurance companies are really going to want it in the future. They can start figuring out not only which illnesses you're predisposed to, but maybe in time, precisely when you're about to fall ill to them, at which point they can find some reason to drop your coverage.
Mm. It's almost like they're one of those evil folks that only care about making money. It's exactly what they are. But
making money,
one of the
there's
nice
nothing wrong
things
with
is,
making money. The problem is how you make the money.
as of right now, that's actually illegal. So
Speaking of making money, go check out Thorne's Zazzle story. Just check out the Zazzle store. Yeah.
Yes.
By the
There's
way,
tasteful nudes.
Oh, good news, folks. The cloud backup thing that Streamlabs OBS has been trying to do is now finished, and now the video bitrate has been stabilizing. So there should be no buffering from here on out.
The story behind the buffering is that something free is being an asshole.
Yeah. There's an update that might try to back up all of my media sources, like the slideshow and everything, to some cloud somewhere, and it would not let me stop it. And that's why there was buffering for the first 10 minutes or so. But
I keep sympathy. Certainly, I'm no stranger to.
But yes, it's a bit of a strange implication. It's a little invasive to know that they can do whatever they want with your DNA. I didn't realize that when I did the test. I was doing it out of sheer curiosity. I really should read things. I'm shocked I've lived as long as I have.
even a vampire isn't safe.
I know which I know enough not to make any pacts with my fellow vampires. Never owe a vampire a favor.
And never
Sounds like a solid
and never
policy.
get.
And I imagine you. Here.
Well, I'm not even the worst type. There's some that can do this flesh crafting magic. You might actually end up being a chair in the living room.
Yeah, I never really understood that. I mean, we've got the concept in fantasy, the entire idea of turning people into furniture, walls made of flesh, things like that. It's very edgy. It's very dark and grim and badass, I guess. But after a while, the smell has to be absolutely unbearable.
Well, here's the thing.
And stains. Remember, you sit on a chair and come up with an ass with a massive blood stain on it. That's got to be at least a little embarrassing.
Well, here's the thing with vicissitude is that the victim doesn't die, so there is no bleeding. Which is much worse.
Hold on, let's see. How often is it that certain edgier demonic individuals have spikes?
See, now that just seems annoying.
You invite one of them over to your house, they sit on your couch, think it's bleeding out on you. It's just an endless series of potential messes.
I would never invite a demon.
Of course, the monstrously unethical.
I would never invite a demon into my house. Imagine there'd just be like gunk all over my sofa and everything would smell like sulfur.
Yeah, so far the rules are never invite a demon into your house, don't make a pact with another vampire, and don't give a fairy a blank check.
Oh God, no. Also, don't make a pact with a fairy. It's worse than the vampire.
And don't let a swordling sit on your flesh-crafted couch.
I mean, I would ask them how they do it and keep the victims alive, but honestly, I don't want to hold a conversation long enough.
I'm definitely quite in agreement. I don't really care to have demons loosen the reality I live in. We've got enough complications.
American Phoenix asked if demon liver tastes.
Demons, it's corruption. So I imagine there's very little you can eat from a demon that doesn't mess you up somewhere.
Well, where I am, the demons usually line up with one of the 7 deadly sins, or one of the 4 horsemen. So I wouldn't want to eat anything that came from that anyway. I'd probably get some kind of preternatural STD.
especially if it was pestilence.
Uh,
Med-resistant pestilence. Mm-mm-mm.
Eating anything from a
just
demon of pestilence, I imagine you come down with all the STDs.
I don't know. I can't catch anything that infects humans, but I'm pretty sure I could catch demon herpes.
Well, if anything's going to be carrying it, that would be it.
Or maybe a lust demon. Just demon AIDS.
You might as well be licking a Nurgle plague marine, I suppose.
That threw up my mouth a little. Heresy.
But once again, we can owe the capture, for what it's worth, of the Golden State Killer to the type of person who uploads their bowel movements to Snapchat.
Oh, see, I only do food to Instagram. Hello, John. No, American Phoenix, I told you already. I'm not turning anyone.
It sounds like he wants to be a familiar.
I'm not a witch.
Ghoul?
Thrall would be the correct word.
Okay.
Well, I suppose it depends on the variety. Certainly ghouls were the classic for Dracula.
Yes.
Well, I personally appreciate that.
I don't plan on turning anyone anytime soon.
That's great. Especially if they live here. It's endless complication.
I'm a bit more of a loner. It's just me and Mr. Midnight. Because then you turn one, and then you have to turn another. It just becomes a thing.
If they have the ability to turn as well, then I imagine if you turn one, the greater problem is that then they turn a few more, and they turn a few more. It starts growing exponentially, because they can probably turn someone faster than, say, a new human can be born and be slowly raised up from fleshy uselessness.
3 days
Yes,
as opposed to 9 months.
That's very easy to get out of hand, lose control of. I would imagine.
Well, it's happened in the past where people have been turned on accident, and you basically have to stop an outbreak. Even I had to get in on that one. Prohibition era was bad for a great many things.
Who knew bathtub gin was so lethal?
Well, I did, actually. Although, I suppose it wasn't very well known at the time. That was a moot observation. Never mind.
I believe if you make most alcohol incorrectly, there's too much ethanol, you can go blind.
No, it's not ethanol. It's methanol.
Methanol. Excuse me.
Well, yes, that's also one of the more embarrassing ways to go out, just from having a drink. Also, greetings, Ghost Dog 999. The only person I've recognized so far in chat.
Bit of a different group of people.
Indeed. But I suspect they operate at times in which I am not very active.
9 times out of 10, I'm at work when you're streaming.
Yes. I'm going to be tinkering with my time schedule on that point in the future, but for now, I'm just trying to get back into routine. As you were aware, I spent nearly a month on the run, as it were. Or were you aware? The video is still up on the channel, if I'm not mistaken. It's tethered to my Twitter account. It was a great deal of fun, all things considered, although there was a darker moment there. On second thought, don't look. Rather than embarrassing in hindsight, I should have edited the whole damn thing out.
American Phoenix says, "I'll be your Nina Harker." Wait,
okay. Nina Harkers.
Yeah, American Phoenix apparently wants to be Thorne's bitch. Lovely.
I don't think he realizes that that's basically what that means.
I'm willing to believe he knows exactly what that means.
I don't quite have the right power set to make the Renfield type thrall. Dominate is a bitch. No, don't hunt other well, there's a couple different groups. Some are okay. Some I have to remain friendly with because otherwise they will. There's more of them than there are of me. Let's just say that. I prefer not pissing off the council.
Yes, again, this is why I'm going to, with full respect, do my best to keep you all out of this reality. I mean, if you make, a cult here and they all worship you, that's fine. People have been doing that on Tumblr for decades now. But really, we don't need Magog turning up here with a massive undead army of skeletons. And the last thing we need is various strains of vampirism running rampant.
No, we don't even want that here.
The moment we had vampirism running loose here, then we go from, well, pretending to be a democracy to a straight-up feudal vampire society where, well, us non-blood drinkers or liver eaters wind up in factory farms.
Daybreakers, essentially.
Yes.
That movie, yes.
I never saw that movie, but I really should. That sounds about accurate.
That proposal, it's been proposed and rejected great many times. Every decade or so, some new person thinks that they're clever and comes up with that idea. American Phoenix is dead set on becoming a vampire. Really, it's not that great. It's kind of boring, and it's just the same bureaucratic bullshit, except with undying horrors to add to your day. Still red tape, except you can't eventually die and escape the red tape.
Well,
John
I suppose eventually you are going to die. It's sort of the nature of the universe there. You can have a really long run, mind you. It's a step up on that point, let's be fair. But I'm pretty sure even in your universe, at some point, whatever passes for the sun will explode, or something will eventually go horribly wrong with the ecosystem, and there's just simply nothing to support you further.
Yeah, by then, though, we'll have space vampires, because of light speed travel.
Oh, you hope so. You really hope so. See, now this is what haunts me. This is what keeps me awake up at night. I'm not entirely certain my species will get off this damn rock before we manage to fuck up things on a truly global scale. Our space program isn't there. My fingers are crossed. I'm pulling as hard as I can, but I have no confidence we're going to get to another planet before we blow up this one.
No, American Phoenix, it's not, I assure you. Why does everyone think that being a vampire is the best thing ever?
A massive media charm blitz, which, well, was going quite well up until that whole Twilight thing.
They do realize that I still have a 9 to 5, right? I don't just sit around with, endless wealth and shit. That's what happens when you refuse to follow the council's rules completely. They don't give you any money and you have to get a job. But, I like my freedom, so fuck them.
So if you toe the line of the council, they just throw money at you?
Yes and no. You still have to do shit for them.
Oh. Because we're halfway to vampire communism here.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like vampire...
Why do you think I don't like the council? They're basically undead commies.
Yeah, I suppose we need to be immortal to figure out a way to make that.
I play nice because the whole idea of not allowing it to spread rampantly is actually pretty good.
Well, I should be fair. That also sounds a bit like universal basic income, which is probably something that will have to be tried at some point. I'm sad to say. Total automation is probably coming.
Yes, that's something we're going to have to talk about sooner rather than later, as much as the folks on the right would like to scream about it. No, this is a conversation that needs to happen. Nuke the commies. No, the commies are the only ones keeping the anarchists at bay in the undead world, so please don't nuke the communists.
Well, what we're going to have to do is realize that the traditional economic system of capitalism, which is, I am a huge defender of, it works really great, but it doesn't work in a pure form, of course. But, well, nothing really works in a pure form.
I was about to say there is no
elements.
I was about to say there is no perfect system. No, I lied. The perfect system is one that stretches and allows for change over time. That would be a perfect system.
Yes, it will need to be flexible. And this cannot be more true than when the previous system fails to work entirely, such as the case of total automation, where no one can earn a living in the traditional sense.
No, the only commies that are allowed to live are the vampire commies. We need them. They're actually useful, unlike the humans. Also, their form of communism is optional, so there's that.
Indeed. And just because the previous system of capitalism would no longer work doesn't mean there couldn't be a new system that works better and will have to follow similar rules.
Radio Freedom, I did not see Andy's show. I don't watch his channel anymore. Even though I'm still subscribed for whatever reason. I think I'm just too lazy to go fix my subscriptions. They all disappeared for some reason the other day, and they came back again. It was really strange.
YouTube is doing some major tinkering with the subscription system. See, they're trying to turn the subscriptions into a means of selling the things they want sold as well. It's not going to end well.
They need to stop tinkering. They're going to break something. It's like a bunch of children in a china shop.
Well, there are things they need to tinker with. There are things they need to improve, but the subscriptions is not one of them. The entire point of subscriptions is that you choose the things you want to see. Okay, that's fine. But now they're trying to determine which of those things you actually get to see.
You know what I want to see? The things I subscribe to. They should stop fucking with that.
Yes, and they're going to start, without a doubt, prioritizing the subscriptions you chose that they're getting some money from directly. So you're probably going to see a lot of small fries get lost in the not too distant future.
Oh, joy. Oh, American Phoenix, I didn't rebel against the council. I just opted out. Though if this was a couple of centuries ago, they probably would have hunted me down. They've become less assholes as time goes on. They kind of figured out that those of us that exist outside of their little circle are sometimes useful for information that they can't gather themselves. It's a mutually beneficial agreement. See, when you tend to live as long as we do, you tend to see the big picture a little easier. Just a little.
With long enough time to observe, you would hope.
The really old ones are interesting to listen to. There's one on the council who was born in ancient Persia. Poor thing can't even wrap his head around how a gun works.
The bullet flies because vampire Allah wills it?
Oh, he was born before Islam was a thing.
Oh, right, yes. I keep forgetting that's actually the newcomer to the classic family.
He's not a fan. Very much not a fan. Doesn't like what it's been doing to his country, his empire. Hugely not a fan. If you thought what some folks were saying about Muslims was bad, whoof. They don't speak Farsi,
I-
but damn, pretty sure that's swearing. I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure whatever he's saying is unfriendly. I don't even think he speaks Farsi. I'm not sure what language he fucking speaks.
If it's otherwise extinct, that could be at least. Well, suffice to say, he's clearly a wellspring of history.
He also doesn't speak English.
Okay, now I'm picturing a ancient vampire around so long, but is stubborn, only learns the one language that's since gone extinct, and now everyone has to just largely guess what he means by hand gestures and intonation.
He has one of his children speaks it and translates. And sometimes editorializes a little bit.
I love the thought of a Persian vampire communicating via ASL.
It still sounds massively inconvenient and therefore quite funny.
It is massively convenient. Having any discussions with him takes forever because whatever language he speaks, his 3 sentences can be summed up in 1 in English. Everything takes 3 times as long.
That poor translator.
Even vampires don't like having their time wasted.
No. Just because I live forever doesn't mean I want to be here all night. Let's go. Spit it out.
This is a solid movie premise.
It's already 1,000 times funnier than any of the fucking vampire movies that have been out lately.
Absolutely.
I'm tired. I'm a little tired of the grimdark. Let's have some fun. Also, sparkly vampires must die. I don't know what that was. What was that? Who thought... Why did this dumbass think that was a good idea?
Oh, I'm baffled, but again, I'm not really a fan on vampires running roughshod over here, and I personally grew up with just a massive number of people who called themselves the Vampire Lestat. So, while I have to agree that was perhaps the worst bit of vampire media ever produced, the hit job it performed on the vampire mystique here was masterful. It's one of those things where you have someone who's so out of touch and so daft they destroy the thing they hypothetically love without even really trying. If you were aiming to destroy the vampire mythos, then I could think of no more effective way than to create the Twilight series.
Oh, I have a theory that the Twilight series in our universe was made strictly to hide our presence. If so, fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
Annoying, but brilliant.
It's hard to believe that it was done intentionally. In fact, it's utterly implausible. But there's a sort of backwards genius there.
Mm-hmm. Who would be cast as the elder vampire? I posit the Middle Eastern guy from Lost. Both because he's hot. Well, mostly because he's hot and because he's a good actor. And I would love to see an elder vampire in a movie that's not from Rome. Because that's tired.
John M. also says sparkly Vampino state.
Yes, no. Let's move them all to an island and then we nuke the island.
Concentrate then purge.
Just a moment, I had to plug my computer back in.
I'm wondering. Sometimes the rules behind killing vampires can be
Complicated.
oddly precise, yes. And if you nuked one, then being incinerated should
Incineration will do it,
head
yes.
and neck and
Anything that even resembles a body.
then again, I've also read supposed accounts of vampires returning from ash, so
I don't think that works.
I wouldn't think so. One of the less plausible areas of fiction, I'm sure.
It would have to
Oh,
take on. It would
am
have
I
to,
thinking Discworld? I might be thinking Discworld. I'm sorry. That's especially unlikely. In Discworld, a vampire can be turned to ash and revived with just a few drops of blood. It's like instant vampire. Just add blood.
That sounds like a load of bullshit.
Oh, assuredly. But then Discworld really wasn't trying to be plausible.
I mean, at that point, you almost use cremation as a method of travel.
You would save a fortune. Of course, if you can turn into a bat or flying creature anyway, then actually you probably still won't do that because it sounds exhausting to flap your arms for so long.
Can vampires be killed by pushing them into wood chippers? Most of us, probably. I'd love to see you try, though. It's a very inconvenient way to try and kill anything.
Yeah, if you don't really catch them by surprise perfectly, then it's probably going to be rather awkward before it proves fatal.
it's hard. It's hard enough to throw wood in there on your own, let alone a living thing that's thrashing about as you're trying to push them in.
All right. Yes, Mr. Midnight.
What?
What did you do?
What breed of vampire is John M talking about here?
First, you have this loud contraption.
I'm not reading that.
Just grinding away, and you're like, I'm going to push you into that.
I'm trying to explain wood chippers to elder vampires. Please, no. I want to suck. The type of vampire he's talking about, I believe, is the sparkly type.
Oh.
Oh, the cocksucking vampire. I was gonna say the incubus, but never mind.
Well, an incubus is a demon, but all right.
Well, I suppose that's one source of blood, but that sounds exceptionally painful.
I don't have a dick, but that sounds unfun.
Yeah,
I'm also not a sanguine vampire. I eat flesh, so.
Teeth problem indeed. That, a fang catching has to be an ever-present concern.
We are so far off topic, but this is fun.
What topic did we have even?
I don't remember.
Well,
We're talking about the Golden State Killer.
Yeah, I did send you a few articles though, and there seems to be some worthwhile topics in there somewhere.
One final note on the wood chipper. I have this lovely ability where I can turn myself into a mud-like substance, so I think if I saw myself going into a chipper, I'd just do that.
So, you can turn into a vampiric goo girl?
Yes. It's pretty useful.
I bet.
Could get to small cracks and such. Yes, the liver's the best part.
Sorry, my imagination's running wild there.
Your mind went straight into the gutter.
Yes, well, it just opens up so many more routes to a liver if you think about it.
Pretty much.
You can...
Oh, I've done that.
Let's move away from that. The Dutch are working on something very interesting here. Apparently they're about to start using AIs to solve cold cases, which means they might actually solve them before the perpetrators die of old age.
Like the Golden State Killer almost did. Yes. He got away with that shit for 36 years.
I've provided a link via your Discord.
Yes,
I think it has some huge potential, although it's just one more vector additionally for the robot apocalypse we will probably face at some point. Although, if it's actually catching criminals before they die of old age, then it's another example of an AI overlord maybe not being a step down.
Mm-hmm. Well, the bad thing, I think, would be if the AI decided that all of us were criminals. You're all potentially... This is actually not good.
Well,
I just realized...
if it goes that route, and certainly that is possible. Certainly we have people who think that, well, since some shooters played violent video games, then clearly violent video games made people shooters. But certainly no one can argue with the fact that all school shooters wore clothes. Not a single nude school shooter.
That would be
Clothes.
hilarious, though, to watch.
Clothes make the school shooters shooters.
Ban pants!
Pants, there we go. Well, we need to find, it could be any one of the clothing. Since they were all wearing pants, was there a single one who was wearing a dress? I don't think so.
Watch, just give it 4 weeks. There's gonna be a Florida man story where some dude in the fucking leopard speedo is gonna go shooting up a fucking Kmart. Watch.
It's Florida Man. I'm shocked that's not already a thing.
Well, that's entirely possible.
John M says, execute Order 66. No? Oh, okay. Not even a fan of Star Wars, and I got that.
I got that.
Okay. I thought it was funny. What if the AI turns into the Santa Claus from Futurama? I don't want to be decapitated by a bicycle fired from a cannon. That is not the way I want to die.
I would have to frown on that as well, although, murder spree a year isn't necessarily that bad. It's sort of a purge, only outsourced to a singular source. Probably less of a mess than the actual purges as they've been envisioned.
American Phoenix, Order 66, it's a Star Wars reference. References!
Yeah, that's where the clones go full genocide mode.
I don't think all of you understand how amazing it is for a vampire as old as I am to actually understand these references. Or how a computer works.
Bowen, was there anything approaching magic in the history of your particular shard of reality?
Yes. We have demons. There are summoning spells for demons.
Okay. I've been wondering about this for a while now. You're getting used to computers. I assume that's something that you have now in your shard of reality in general. Is that correct? Or is it something new or something you imported? So you do have those now commonly?
Yes, I have one in my pocket.
Great.
It's amazing. We went from pre-industrial to having a computer in my pocket. It's amazing.
Yes, how did you manage that? Because I could not notice, at least as we envision it here, that and I've mentioned this many times before, I'm probably boring anyone who's heard me say it, but it seems that in most existences where there's something approaching magic, you can either have fireballs or indoor plumbing.
Oh, indoor plumbing. I'll pick indoor plumbing 1,000 times over. We also didn't have that.
Agree. I'm just wondering what it is about magic that has traditionally, it would seem, held back technological development, which led me to the question to you. How did your people make that jump from relying upon crazy people in robes to, I'm guessing, magic away all the poo, to, embracing indoor plumbing and electricity and things like computers?
Oh, well, the magic in my world is more of a, I guess what you would call arcane or high magic. So, extremely uncommon. Extremely, extremely uncommon. It's not like Magog's world, where I think they literally magic away the poo. I mean, the first thing,
if I... in the tower, so he might just be crapping out the window, as was the...
It's Magog. He's probably crapping out the window and aiming for people.
It's practical on a certain level. Certainly keeps people away. It's certainly a novel method for discouraging the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I think we just figured out how to get rid of them. No, that's a joke. They never go away.
I hear knocking at the door. Well, excuse me. Time for a break. Now, I should study the tower again and see if there's a window directly over the door or not. If I ever visit, that's going to be important information.
There is over mine. Time to fill a bucket with urine. Never mind. I'm kidding. I don't pee. But, everyone asks me where the waste goes. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
I suppose those nightmarish poo-related demons have to get their material from somewhere.
Ugh. But magic in my realm is more of an arcane, rare thing. It's not ubiquitous where I could just go down to the store and pick up a wand. It's never been like that. It's been a thing that has been held by very few people.
So basically, it's the bright interpretation of magic. You know, the
Yes. More or
freaking
less.
Netflix movie featuring Will Smith as a guy who's secretly a wizard and doesn't even know it.
God, that
I'm sorry.
that could have been so much better.
I ruined this twist for people who haven't seen it yet.
No, you didn't.
No one could have possibly predicted that.
It's not a spoiler. It's just not.
American Phoenix says, I'd rather see the magical nudes that Thorin sells. And you can buy those over at Zazzle.com/twistingthorns. Go now.
Yes. What Nightbot said. Click that. Or you can buy like a keychain or something. There's a lot of different things over there.
And Zippo lighters and t-shirts.
Playing cards.
All kinds of
An
things.
exotic array.
Yes. I tried to get a good spread of stuff. I don't have any t-shirts. I have t-shirts. I don't like them very much. I'll have to buy one. I'm not quite sure of Zazzle's quality of t-shirt.
At some point, I must figure out merchandise, but I'm kind of dragging my feet on that. Besides, I feel a bit insincere. I don't really wear much of the t-shirts myself. I, of course, wear white t-shirts underneath. That is also available in that video I made and shouldn't have. But I don't really wear casual t-shirts in general. It's just not habit. I don't feel properly dressed unless I've got buttons on somewhere.
John M. says, "Oh God, American Phoenix, but she's so old." I'm not that old. I'm only 200. Be nice. What? Technically, America was America when I was born. I'm not that old.
The age doesn't matter if you're that well preserved.
And
Not
she
Or
very-
you seem to. And
I am
thank
very
God-
well preserved.
Thank God you weren't turned, pre-pubertal, and we now have to deal with some sort of lolicon ancient demon scenario.
Oh, Dance in the Vampire Bund. Tass.
Child vampires are creepy as fuck.
Yes. Yes. And this is one of the reasons why when I play Skyrim, I absolutely cannot side with the Dark Brotherhood. They must all go.
The child vampires, no, kill them with fire. The council doesn't allow them, actually. The other groups, not so much. No, kill it with fire. They're always fucked in the head. Always fucked in the head.
It seems quite inevitable. You know, there are some people who think that, oh, wouldn't it be lovely if a child grew up? What a horrible concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's guaranteed result in an incredibly fucked up individual. It's inevitable.
If you don't believe me, go read Interview with a Vampire again.
Yeah, Claudia, the case study right there.
Yeah, there's no
She's a
way
best
it
case
pans
scenario.
out well.
No,
No way.
Claudia is almost a best case scenario. At least she was level-headed for a little while.
Yeah, she made it a good few decades, 100 years or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just downhill from there.
And the it doesn't even have to be vampires. Think about AI. Oh God. There's unfortunately things that I have to think about it too. AI, a Steven Spielberg film, entirely revolving around this child robot who apparently oversees the fall of humanity, and while pursuing an imaginary blue fairy to turn into a real boy. The entire concept of a child robot was horrifying. And that kid had problems. There's no way to have an emotional child and wind up with anything less than an utter basket case.
No. They're just not developed enough to handle. Children are not developed enough to handle certain things. Vampirism and being turned into an AI are two of them.
Well, they made the AI
Yes, made the AI to resemble a child.
Yeah,
Bad
and
idea.
believe it was a child, and that was just miserable.
You thought he was a real boy.
Well, what really bothers me, one of the many things that bother me about that god awful film, is who are these people who really wanted a love of their own in the form of a small child who will never grow up?
Radio Freedom says child forever equals probably never having sex.
Uh,
Oh, you wish. There's pedophile vampires too.
Oh, joy.
Oh,
yes.
joy, yes. I got to hunt one of them down. I took a great amount of glee in killing him.
Yeah. There's just no end to the horrifying ethical complications of
Fun
vampire
fact.
kids.
No one likes pedophiles, including vampires. No one likes pedophiles.
Even rapists don't like pedophiles.
No, and they shouldn't.
Ani says they have a thing called the Midnight Sun. Oh, Ani is from Scandinavia? Yes?
Frozen butterfly, is it? Yes, I believe so. Welcome.
Hello.
Or am I just gambling
Finland.
one pin for another?
Woohoo.
Yes, that is a little-known fact from Wikipedia snippet there. The Leakspin song is, in fact, a Laplandish folk song. And the lyrics tell a story that basically boils down to a strappy young lad telling a mother to back off of the relationship or he'll knock her out.
Ooh.
I'm paraphrasing badly. I probably got it wrong, but the sentiment is definitely that. Yeah, he's gonna go out with your daughter, and if you don't like it, his fist has a word for you. Still a very fun song. I've got it stuck in my head even now. Oh God, it's gonna be there for the rest of the day now.
I was just going to let you continue with that.
Well, I can't stop it now. I'm talking, but it's on loop. It's going to take a while.
We have another independent vampire who claims to have had an earworm for the last 50 years.
That sounds lovely.
I forgot what song it is, but he occasionally starts humming it, and I tell him to shut up. It's annoying. I don't want it. I don't know if it's contagious. He said, I don't know. It's some kind of sea shanty. It won't stop.
Sea shanty, that's the solution. I know a wide variety of sea shanties. I just need to conjure up one of those. That'll help.
He used to be one of those folks did shipping on the Great Lakes. Interesting guy. Won't stop humming the same song.
Can you hum it?
Nope.
I might even know it.
Nope. I refuse.
There are a lot of very catchy ones.
Well, they also made up their own, so it could be one of those.
Well, they often did. The lyrics are almost entirely they're almost arbitrary.
It was the beat that was important.
Oh yes, the rhythm. You have to have that just right, and to turn the capstan, to bring up the anchor. Any number of things that a solid rhythm was key for. So important was it that sometimes you could have shantymen whose sole job pretty much was just to maintain the rhythm.
Indeed. All I know is that this one involves a redhead and boobs, which sounds about right for semen.
If it's not at least a little vulgar, it's probably not that authentic.
So wait, so someone made a song about the bitching witch?
Or someone that looked just like her about 100 years ago.
So it was the bitching witch. Okay, awesome.
Possibly. I don't know. Maeve, if you're in there, how old are you? I mean, if she's 100, she looks fantastic for a century
Oh,
old.
yes.
I mean, she looks fantastic in general. She's a century old, even more so.
What is the term for a century-old individual?
Centurion. Centurion.
Cent- Centurion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yes, quite the accomplishment. I've met a few 100-year-old people or close to it, and they rarely look all that fresh or are intelligible.
I read somewhere that there's based on the principles of cell division in the body, that the body can only have a maximum of 120 years. I forget what that limit is called, but apparently there is a limit to life. Even if in the most optimal conditions, you can only live up to 120 before your body just gives out.
Yeah, don't you just your things just break down, cellular breakdown, your brain starts breaking down, your eyes start breaking down. Just your body just says, "Nope, I'm done. That's it. We're done."
Well, let's hope that holds. I don't think we will benefit here the moment any sort of biological immortality is achieved. Now,
No.
with the way we're developing new technology, more dense hard drives, faster computers, if we want to start uploading people into a computer, I'm okay with that personally. We've got the storage space. If we start having actual proper immortals, then, well, it's basically that whole new feudal era with a bunch of deranged elites who think they're gods reigning over the rest. Certainly not everyone is going to get biological immortality. We can rule that out right.
I'm sure at some point, because over time technology always becomes cheaper and more accessible.
Well, there's a company that's actually working on downloading your brain into a computer. They said they think they have a theoretical model, but it is currently 100% fatal.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, those are usually made from retrieving brains of bodies that are already dead.
No, you have to be alive when you do it. But if you do it, it'll kill you.
That defeats the purpose.
Well, I guess the idea is if you are, say you have terminal cancer or something that's going to kill you, you can download your brain into the computer anyway.
That would make much more sense.
Or if you're, already at the point where your body is going to start breaking down, but your mind is fine.
See, and I would like to actually learn more about this project because that has some interesting potential complications, as in why exactly is it necessarily fatal? If there was something that, upon being copied, ceased to work in the original...
It's not a copy. It's a transfer.
When we're speaking in a digital level, I don't see how that's remotely possible because you can't just feed a brain into a CD drive.
I don't know. Something about it kills you, though. So I guess that would technically be a transfer because the original copy would essentially be destroyed.
It'd be just like Soma.
Yes. Yes, it's like Soma. Except it's 100%.
But...
That's what they're like. It needs work because of, the fatal part.
I just don't understand why it should be fatal.
I don't totally understand the process. I barely understand computers.
That's why I would have to look into this, because there's no reason it should be fatal. I don't think you can really just transfer a consciousness. That's data. The data can be copied, which is why, by the way, if you do manage to get your brain uploaded into a computer, there's a very good chance there's no reason to think that what's in the computer is still you. What you have is a simulation, an AI that believes it's you, that is probably maybe sentient and has its own will and is a person as far as we should be concerned. But it wouldn't necessarily be you. Just like in Star Trek, the whole teleporter thing. The afterlife of Star Trek has to be a complete clusterfuck.
Though technically also, even if it was you per se, even if it was a person per se, at the moment you copied yourself into the computer, wouldn't it then immediately stop being you because it would be living a different type of reality?
Effectively. It's a copy of you that is not you. It's like something having an identical twin, but just digital.
Ghost Dog, we will have the same problems, but just not die. This is exactly why I keep saying that being a vampire sucks. Some days I want to throw myself in a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to get fake papers when you're 100 years old?
Just think about it. The afterlife of Star Trek, you have to have an entire wing devoted to any given member of Starfleet. The Picard wing of heaven.
Oh my god.
The Kirk wing of heaven.
Oh my god. I want to go there just to see it.
An entire pocket of reality entirely filled with McCoys.
Oh no. I don't want to go to the place that's full of bones.
What a fascinating thought.
Just come out and be like, well, I'm clinically depressed now.
And we know that has to work that way, because they already had an episode where, what was it? One of them got copied. Who was it? Riker! Yes, Riker
Yes.
had an entire copy who lived
Thomas Riker.
in isolation on a space station after a teleporter fuck up. So,
Slowly losing
guaranteed,
his fucking mind.
every member of Star Trek has been killed over and over and over with only the faintest illusion of persistence.
Well, yes, I'm an undocumented vampire.
A space utopia indeed. Man, I hope we can do better. On that note, I'm afraid I need to start dodging out.
Correct. It's been about an hour. It's kind of time to stop.
First off, I want to thank you very much for having me on. It has been a blast and a fascinating conversation. I'm really going to have to look into that whole brain upload thing.
I'll see if I can find the article again. I didn't understand. It made me feel stupid, so I stopped reading it. I know a lot of things. It's not about computers.
That's why I'm here.
I was born in a time before industrialization. We took a dump in a hole, and when the hole was full, you buried it and dug another hole. That's how outhouses work. That's basically what an outhouse is.
Yes, pretty much. An outhouse is just, building a fancy little shack on top of the hole.
Yes, so it's not so cold when you take a dump in it. It's still fucking cold. Yes. John M. asked, who are you and why should I sub to you?
Well, I suppose you aren't obligated to. I am, again, Director Architect Labs. I am aiming for sort of a whimsical commentary in general. I have live streams, usually every Friday, Saturday. It would have been Wednesday for a bit of live gaming, although the last effort was attempting to live stream Skyrim in VR, and that didn't really end very well because those VR kits are hot, damn it. Although I'm really grateful because the original iteration of VR was supposed to be, what was it, skin-tight leather suits, strapping yourselves into what might as well have been BDSM equipment. Thank God we didn't go that route. I digress.
So
that sounds sticky.
So you're gonna do one of the sex mods for Skyrim.
Yay! Are you gonna do one of the ones where everyone's just naked and there's no armor?
Yeah, buddy.
That might draw quite the following, actually, up until YouTube shut me down.
Which would be immediately.
You can just upload that to Pornhub, you'll be fine.
Well,
And then he lost his channel.
in my previous attempt, I wound up sweating so heavily that it looked suspicious as it was. If I do that too, there's just gonna be no explaining it.
He has to go make coffee.
Anyhow, if it amuses you, I suppose I should throw a link to my channel in there somewhere. I should have had that handy already. I am horribly disorganized. Bit of a fraud. Super science bureaucrat, and I don't have things in order before I get into a live stream. It's really quite embarrassing.
All right. Well, and Race.
Well, I have a Bad Prawn Comedy Hour on Tuesday nights, and I have Mystic Shites on Monday nights, which Thorn was on just the other night. Or that earlier joke about not, giving fairies a blank check was a callback to that. Be sure to check it out. It's basically Power Rangers meets Lord of the Rings, but set in Ancient Ireland. We're watching a show like that on the stream.
No, sounds great. Where's that bloody link?
Now I will wait on the link. And I've been Thorn, and well, you're already watching me, so you know what it's all about, I suppose. And I don't suck blood. I'm not a sanguine vampire, damn it. I'm a strigoi. We eat organ meat. Thank you. What link are you trying to drop? I can put it in the description.
I was aiming for my channel link.
Oh, I have your Twitter in there.
Oh, well, that works too. If I could actually bother you for a wrench, I can drop that in chat here quick.
Say something so I can wrench you. Cisco, hello.
What?
There?
I really hate YouTube's chat.
Did you literally
Such a hassle
say
just to remember
something?
to always be switching to live chat from top chat.
What did you say before that top chat hid?
Oh,
Also, whatever you said before, live chat didn't show it either.
well, yes, it was actually a link, and because I liked to wrench at the time, I was well, it didn't show it at all because, naturally, I'm trying to, I don't
You've
know,
been
sell
moderated
dick
it.
pills.
Or free sex. I've yet to have one of the bots like peddling free sex, but you can you can put your link in now.
Right.
This is a long outro. My gosh.
Yes, this is entirely my fault as well.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm still learning how to host and such. I'm building a computer. Soon I'm going to have my own computer that I can actually do the OBSs on.
Oh wait,
Yeah, press F.
There we are.
that'll lead to my channel anyway, the canned video channel anyway. There's a live stream channel as well, but yeah, I think I've wasted quite enough time. Again, thank you very much for having me on. It's been a blast. Hopefully we can do it again sometime, or else maybe I could have you as a guest again. Last time was pretty much perfect, but it was, as it turns out, horribly beginner's luck.
I've had that before. Anyway, good night.
Or technically, good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening, and good
Relevant
night.
time of day.